up, YouTube? So today I'm coming at you guys wanting to share some tips on how to pass the CCRN and also explain to you guys how I passed it. And I'm giving you guys my verbatim regimen on what helped me to pass the CCRN in 4 days. You heard me, 4 days. So for me, to begin, I took 4 days off from work. I made sure my daughter went to her grandmother's house during the day and at night, during the day, and I got her back at night. And so for me, it was more or less waking up around like 7:38 and studying until about 8 p.m. So about 12-hour days for 4 days. And on the 5th day, I took the CCRN. So for me, the materials I used were the Laura Gasparis videos, specifically respiratory, neuro, and cardiac. I also used the past CCRN book, but not so much the book, the questions. And those questions were actually online. And I did pay for the AACN review. So for me, the first 2 days, I started with cardiac because I knew that was going to be the most difficult section. I actually came from a general medical ICU, had never seen a PA catheter, never even seen an art line. It was a small community hospital in Atlanta, and I was blinded. I had been in many codes. So I've seen the worst of the worst, but it was just not up to date when it came to technology. Even surgical patients, if the surgery was that advanced, like an open heart surgery or a transplant or something like that, we sent them to another hospital. But I worked in a small community hospital. So anywho, for the first 2 days, I studied cardiac, respiratory, and neuro. I specifically started with cardiac because I knew that was going to be a really difficult section for me and somewhat weak. And so I started with the AACN review. I watched the entire presentation on cardiac, answered the questions. Then I watched the Laura Gasparis video, and I did all the past CCRN questions pertaining to cardiac. After that, I went into respiratory. And for the respiratory section, same thing. I watched the AACN presentation, did the questions, did the past CCRN questions from the book, and then I watched Laura. And I also did the same with neuro. Going into day 3, and that took 2 whole days. Going into day 3, I pretty much just did everything section by section. The only difference is I did not watch the Laura Gasparis videos, so I just did all the past CCRN questions, and I reviewed the AACN presentations, but I actually did not watch them. I just printed off the PowerPoints and went through section by section and did the questions. On the 4th day, so I did that from day 3 to midday 4. On day 4, I actually paid for an AACN practice test so I could see where I was weak, and that helped a lot. And after that, I kind of studied the sections where I was weak, and then I did the past CCRN questions. They had 50, it was like a mixed test that you could create, and it was like 50 questions from all the sections. I did that twice. And I did that going through day 4. On day 5, which was the day I took the test, I started by eating a strong, good, hearty breakfast. I did a lot of praying. I actually prayed every night. And then I kind of chilled for 2 hours. My test was actually that morning. And knowing that I was still pretty weak on cardiac, I actually did some review on cardiac stuff, but I was just like, Lord, it's in your hands. We got this. I prayed with my friends before I went into my test, and I think I took my test around like 1 o'clock. And then from there, I went and I took my test. And when I tell you guys, I passed that test with flying colors. I think the test had about 125 questions, and I definitely passed well over 100. And I think you needed like 70 or 75 to pass. So I just want to tell you guys this method is tried and true. I actually typed this method up and gave it to my friends who were in the ICU who were going to take the CCR, and they all also passed. I have met several people along the way who told me they did not pass. More so before I took the test, so I was extremely nervous, especially to try to take it in 4 days. The reason why I took my test in 4 days is because I had a new job opportunity coming, and they wanted someone with the CCRN, so I had to take it quickly. And then I found out about that part late, that they wanted someone with a CCRN. So I said, hey, I could take this test, pass it. And at the time, I had actually those 4 days to get it passed by the time the deadline came up. So it worked for me. It worked for several people I know. and I really, really hope it works for you. Good energy, good vibes. Please let me know if you pass. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to put in the comment section.